All right. All right. I'm gonna start the Hangout a little bit early just to wait for people to join in. So, all right. 5 minutes. And while we're waiting, might as well write some tests. Huh. Got a few more minutes. Hello, Rude, the funky DJ producer. Let me add something on Discord. Yep, Saturday is DJ night. Just post this on Discord. All right, just set it. We're gonna wait a little bit, a few more minutes. I know that a lot more people watch these offline, and of course we have Formula One qualifying, so some people might not be interested that much to watch me blabber. Much more interested in watching fast cars. Let's see if this one works for everyone. I'm just writing a test right now, waiting for a little bit, and then I'll start in a few moments. So serialize is that. When you don't serialize it, and let's see if our difference. Okay. All right. Let's give this a start. Welcome everybody to March's Hangout. Today, the 30th of March, we have kind of like a jam-packed Hangout. I'm just going to try and not waste a lot of time from people. And at the end of this Hangout, we're going to have questions and answers. If you want to, you can visit our YouTube channel, and whoever's watching it online can post a question. Whatever you guys got in the chat. Okay. So let me just change this to live chat. All right. Hello, Rude. Hello, Oleg. Welcome everybody. So I need to change this screen to start sharing my screen so you guys can see the little presentation that I did for you. So application window, this, and share. And let's see if I can present this. Will it be better? Yeah, it's better. Okay. So welcome everybody to the community hangout for Phalcon PHP. Our agenda for today, we have, of course, the introduction. Welcome to everybody, as I mentioned. A thank you to the whole community and the contributors. Status update since the last hangout. We're going to talk a little bit about Devtools, translations. We're going to announce a new competition. We're going to mention also our new Telegram channel for those that are on Telegram and want to get their news from there. And then we're going to have question and answer. Can you full screen the presentation? Let me see. Oops. Hold on. Maybe if I can do it like this. Or no, it doesn't let me. Maybe I can make it full screen like this, but it doesn't let me to get the whole screen out. So you're gonna have to look at my my browser as well. It doesn't allow me to do the full screen and present at the same time. So F11. All right, hold on. Just click this guy. Oh, there you go. Oh, thank you all. Okay, you learn something every day. Hey, I'm old, so don't don't bash me. Okay, so welcome everybody, and a huge thank you to our awesome community. I cannot help everybody that has been contributing with either contributions to the framework in terms of pull requests, or others that have just issued NFRs or advised us of different bugs that we need to address, and people that have engaged in discussion. I saw in the last few weeks we had a really good flow of people coming over and visiting us on Discord and asking questions and engaging with the rest of the community. Thank you to all for doing that. If you are interested, it doesn't really make a difference, but if you are interested, the contributors just for Phalcon, just for the main framework, are on the first link. But we also have the incubator, the Devtools, and other repositories that other people have been contributing. So kudos to them too. A little bit of our links on our social media, the forum, Discord that I mentioned, Stack Overflow, Facebook, Twitter, Gab, and Telegram. MeWe is missing from there. I forgot to put it. But the new thing that I mentioned is that we now have a Telegram channel that we post news. So anybody that uses Telegram is more than welcome to join our channel and get their news from there should they wish to. Bear in mind, you cannot interact with us using Telegram. It's just a channel where you post news about it. It's pretty much similar to Facebook and Twitter, but we tend on moving towards the more free-loving in privacy channels. That's why we have Gab, Telegram, and MeWe. Twitter and Facebook, although we haven't noticed it lately, they do tend to kind of like tone us down. So that's another means of information for you guys, whatever you guys like. So a quick update. Arhel Jeckerson, Ultimator, joined the organization, the Phalcon organization as collaborators. Ultimator, which is Kevin, has been with us with the organization for a long time as a member of the Bootstrap team. But now he also came in as a collaborator, and he's also helping with Devtools. Huge props to Jeckerson and the other guys that have been pushing the Devtools repository and introducing new versions and all that. Huge props also to Arhel. I believe his name is Ihor. Sorry if I don't pronounce that right. He has been helping with O2, the guys from O2, in making our websites as CSS friendly as possible with different resolutions and all that, correcting bits and pieces here and there. As far as O2 is concerned, they are working for a new CSS for our built with website. This is underway, and then they're going to concentrate on the main website, and they're going to adjust things in our documentation website. I believe that we will be able to have everything set when V4 is released. And for those that are, of course, asking when is V4 going to be released, I'm going to explain that a little bit later. Now, so far we had 4 enhancements and 1 NFR that we fixed. We also released Alpha 3. We also released the Phalcon coding standard. The link is there in the documentation. If you feel that this is something new, don't. It's pretty much PSR2 for Phalcon. There are some small differences, but if you're familiar with PSR2, you will have no problems following the standard in Phalcon. Sadly, PHP-CS, which is the PHP code sniffer, doesn't work with Zephyr files. So it's not going to tell you, hey, you have one more space there, or you're using tabs there and all that stuff. But we do have an editor config file in the main repository. So you can use a plugin, let's say in PHP Storm, that would read that file, and then it will help you when you're programming in Zephyr. We've also introduced a new collection object. The new collection object is a really supercharged array. It offers getters and setters. It implements a ton of interfaces, serializable, JSON serializable, array access iterator, accountable, and all that stuff. So this object is used to hold a collection of sorts. We already refactored the code, and we made the registry use that component, and thus reducing the code of the framework. And we also redid the session bag component to use this one. And this actually gave us a lot more flexibility by removing code. It reminds me of of something I heard in a presentation some time ago. The guy was saying, today was a really good day. I removed 2,000 lines of code. And that gives you an idea of where our mindset is, that the thinner we can make Phalcon by refactoring and reusing components, the better it is. It gives you a hell of a lot more maintenance, and it reduces repetition. No, Bob, I have not read Mike Hawk on the rate pin code. If you have a link, just go ahead and post it. I'll definitely have a look at it later on. Okay. On the collection object, one other thing that we're going to do is we're going to introduce another object, or a few more, that inherit from the collection. One would be a read-only, which pretty much would not allow any setting or getting for that. And there are certain areas in the framework that this is needed. And there was another one, but kind of like forget it right now. Sorry. So there's a lot more work to be done. The point is that we're identifying areas where we can do some good refactoring, and we're introducing components that would help us do that. So V4, I mentioned before in a previous Hangout, is going to be the groundwork for a lot more things to come. So some things might not make 100% sense right now, but there is a vision towards going to V4.1, 4.2, V5, and so on and so forth. So all these things are going to help us later on. So the current status, as we are, we have 8 open PRs as of yesterday. I created the slides yesterday. We have 95 open issues. Most of them are NFRs. The ones that we have as bugs are open issues, but they are in our project. The link for the project, as you see it on the screen, we have 1 high bug, 5 medium, 6 lows, and we have 4 NFRs and 5 enhancements. For the last month, we discussed about having a new queue component since we deprecated Beanstalk D, and the queue component should adhere with some sort of standard. Now, PSR doesn't have a queue, a specification for a queue component, but certain guys from Queue Interop have created their own, and there's a lot of libraries that are using this particular interface. So in theory, if you have one of those, one component in Phalcon that implements that Queue Interop interface, then you can plug in any adapter or any handler that you want, whether this is Redis or whether this is Beanstalk D, if you want to use that, and so on and so forth. So we're trying to make this as plug and play as possible. And the discussion is in the issue that you have seen. We have already worked with the Queue Interop guys, and we have ported, so to speak, their interface using Zephyr. And we haven't announced it yet, but one can actually compile the Queue Interop extension and have it load before Phalcon and then use that. So that's the idea. That's where we're going. On the PSR 16, for those that don't know, this is the cache. PSR offers 2 cache specifications. One is PSR 6 and one is PSR 16. We felt that PSR 16 was going to be the best one for Phalcon, so we started using that. Our friend Paul Dragounis was the leading the lead on that specification and that standard, if you like. So what we're doing is we're rewriting our cache to be a little bit easier, but also be PSR 16 compliant. And with that, again, if you don't like the Phalcon cache, you can just drop in anything you want in your application and it will work as expected. The cache will be split into 3 main areas, and this one would follow the same specification as the same implementation, if you like, as the logger component. So if you remember, in the logger component, we have a formatter, which formats the logging message. We have a handler, which logs things somewhere. So you might have a stream handler, you might have a, let's say, a Redis handler, you might have a database handler, anything. And then you have the main component that does all this work. So we're following exactly the same pattern or methodology, if you like, for this. So what we're going to have is a serializer. Serializer is the class that does a serialize and unserialize of your data. So if you want to store, let's say, an array, some RDBF, some caching providers might not be able to store that array as is. So it has to be serialized somehow. And we're going to offer very common serializers, such as the base64 encode, IG binary, the PHP serialize method, MSG pack most likely, and others. Then we're going to have the storage adapters, which would be, for instance, Redis, it could be Memcached, it could be file system like a stream, and so on and so forth. And then on top of that, we're going to have the cache component, which will be doing everything for you once you set it up properly. All right. So that's the idea. This is ongoing work. For those that were early in the Hangout, I was waiting. I started a little bit early. Hey, Sergey. I started a little bit early, and while I was waiting, I was writing tests, and the tests that I'm writing right now are for the serializer. So there's work ongoing for this. A little bit more on the queue, also PSR7 and assigned the NFRs. So for the queue, I did mention that we created the queue interrupt interface in Sapphire. We are working with a team of queue interrupt to see what more we need to do, and then for 4.1, because we don't have time right now, we really want to push 4.0 as soon as we can out. We're going to introduce this queue component using that particular interface, and then we're going to introduce adapters, handlers, and so on and so forth. Welcome to Sergey, Max, Radoslaw. And if I'm murdering your first name, please forgive me. I'm Greek, so hey. Going back, and if I'm going too fast, slow me down, guys, in the chat, okay? Now, for PSR7, we have a full implementation of PSR7. The namespace is Phalcon HTTP message. And at a later stage, we're going to rename this, but not right now. There's going to be quite a lot going on until we do that. So there's going to be plenty of time for everybody to work on that. For those that do not know PSR7, PSR7 is the messaging protocol. Sorry, it's the HTTP protocol from PHP Fig. It gives you requests, response, server requests, URI, upload files. It also gives you certain factories with PSR 17, which we have introduced also in our implementation. So what is it going to do for my application, you will ask? Okay, well, right now, the way Phalcon is written, it's not going to do much. Right? You could write your code to not use the Phalcon request, Phalcon response, and use the Phalcon HTTP message request, Phalcon HTTP message response. You can do that, but it's not going to do any automatic loading for you. It's not going to parse any headers for you. You will have to feed it, so to speak. What it could do also is, let's say, and this has been from an example that Rude gave me. If you have Phalcon loaded on your web server, and let's say you have an application has nothing to do with Phalcon, right? That uses PSR7, you can strip that part of your application and use the Phalcon PSR7 implementation. So this particular component, this particular namespace, can be used as a drop-in replacement for anything that you have PSR7 compliant. So you could definitely use the component right now in any application that uses PSR7. All right, it doesn't have to be a Phalcon one. Now the documentation is in progress. I finished, I think, the request. I'm working on the response, and the next one would be the server response and all that stuff. I'm writing the API for it and all that, just to make sure that if this is completely finished, the documentation has to be finished, because I know that we had a lot of pull requests that came in and we never updated the documentation. So that's going to be a big task right before we release V4. Also, we need a load method for the server request factory. Server request factory comes from PSR 17. And what it does is it allows you to create a new request, a new server request object. And server request is the one that you've requested the data. It's the one on your server. You're the recipient, right? And there is a method specifically in Zendiactoros that I really liked. So you pretty much start your server request factory and you throw in all your super globals. So you will throw in, let's say, your post, your get, your server, all these super global arrays. And what it does is it actually normalizes all the headers, checks for everything that has to be in there, and populates your server request object with it. So it makes life much easier for you. So I want to implement that. And coming back to what I was saying earlier about the collection object, now you see the use of the collection object in storing super globals. There is accessing super globals in Zephyr is really dangerous, and it causes a lot of seg faults. It's not something that we want to do. So what we're gonna do in these kind of situations is we're gonna feed the super global into a collection array, and then into a collection object, and then use that collection object throughout. And this way, your server, let's say, or your get or your post super global is immutable. You know, nobody's touching it, and then you can manipulate the data the way you want it. Last but not least, in this slide, we asked the community. We kind of like took all the NFRs that existed in the repo at that particular time a month ago, and we put numbers on them. And we said, okay, we're going to close all these NFRs, and then we have one of these, and we want you to vote for which one is the most significant to you, right? It's not to degrade any NFR or any suggestion. We want to help the community as much as possible, but it's better to address the ones that impact most people first, and then do the other ones. So we had this little not competition, you know, request for comments for the framework. And I did go last week, was it, or the week ago, and assigned all the NFRs that were top. I think the ones that I had, what was it, 5 votes and above, I sent them all to the 4.1 project. So if you go to the GitHub C Phalcon repository and click on projects, you can see that there is a 4.1 one. And I also reopened those NFRs so that we can work on them. Okay. Now, let's talk a bit about Devtools. We cannot thank Jackerson, Kevin, Cameron, as well as others for stepping up to help. The plan and what has been done right now is there was a full review of all tasks. Some tasks were closed with reason comments. I don't understand what that is. That's what Jackerson sent me, so I just copied and pasted it. So I'm guessing that some tasks were closed with an explanation or something. There's a new milestone that was added for 4.0. All the issues were assigned to a particular milestone. Hold on, Rude. We added, we've done some PRs for 3.4, and then we have one blocker issue that Kevin Altimeter has to fix. Once that is done, there's going to be a brand new release. And that team is planning on finishing all issues for 3.4 and make functional Devtools with Phalcon 4 Alpha. So Rude is asking when should we expect Alpha 4? I believe that we could release Alpha 4 probably next week. It will depend. I really want to get the PSR 16 out, and I'm actually taking Anton, tasks were closed and describe why. I don't know exactly which ones, Anton, were closed. You're more than welcome to ask in our Discord and ping Jackerson, Kevin, or Cameron. They'll be able to tell you why. Most likely, from my understanding, right? I haven't looked at it, but It could very well be that we're not going to fix this because it complicates that. You're Jenkerson. Oh, okay. All right. So, hey, you tricked me. You have a different name on YouTube. All right. So, Jenkerson on YouTube is telling us that the real terminology there were tasks were closed, and we described why they were closed. Okay. Awesome. Gotta love it. So, yeah, I was saying about Alpha 4. We could release it next week. We haven't put in a lot of work to justify a release, but we can see how well we can go this week coming. Remember, we do all have jobs. And I would love it if I could release 16 out, but not sure. Maybe if we can release some of the outstanding issues in the project, we can do an Alpha 4. But definitely once PSR 16 is out, we're going to be looking close to a beta because we're going to be really, really close to the end. Okay. So, all right. The PSR stuff is in. Would be great try. You can try PSR 7 right now for Alpha 3. The 16 is not there yet. I started working on it some time ago, but I didn't like the implementation, so I started working on it yesterday night. So, all right. We cannot thank enough our translators and as well as Crowdin. For those that don't know, Crowdin is a translation website. What they do is they integrate with your website by GitHub, GitLab integration, all that stuff. And what they do is they pull a source language, and the source language in our case is always English. What happens is then they offer a very friendly UI for somebody that knows a different language than English, and we have tons of people translating. And then what you do is you click on a document, let's say installation for our documents, right? Or introduction or whatever. And then you start translating it. It also gives you some suggestions if you get stuck, if you don't understand very well. And then all you do is you just click save, and that translation is saved. Then the second step is that somebody from the same language or yourself who is a proofreader looks at the document and just says, okay, well, that's great. And then the minute the proofreader approves it, Crowdin creates a pull request into the docs website. And then we merge the pull request, and lo and behold, our website gets updated. It's a little bit more elaborate than that, meaning that once we merge the pull request, then we have to go to the docs app repository, do the pull there, and then do a push by updating the document submodule. And then our website, our docs will be rebuilt. But aside from that little small thing that we have to do, huge thanks to the people that helped translate. Notable is Ismail, who translated in Turkish the main website. He started translating the documents. He started translating Zephyr website, the Zephyr documents. I mean, this guy was crazy. He was just translating all the time. So kudos to everybody. If you see anything, or if you have any problems, by all means contact us. And again, coming from the slide, one of the things that I have to stress out, we are only translating V4 documents. We're not going to touch the V3. V3 is what it is. Right after the V4 or right after any update goes out, Algolia, our search provider, goes and crawls the website. I think they do it once a day for new content. So if you go to the V4 version of the website, on the right-hand side, top right-hand side on top of the sidebar, you will see a search box, and then you can start typing your terms, and you will see a list of articles that could help you. It's a really, really awesome search, and we really thank Algolia for their help. That was awesome. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So we have a competition. Yay! As I mentioned earlier. So we tried to find a really good name, and the best we could do was April Bugfest. We were thinking the Hacktoberfest that DigitalOcean did, but you cannot do a Aprilloberfest or something. It didn't work. So we're gonna name it April Bugfest, and we're announcing it today to avoid April's Fool's joke confusion. So the purpose is to fix as many bugs and as many enhancements, as many NFRs as we can for V4. I did show you guys the project. You can see it on the main repo. So the requirements to enter this competition is pretty much fix the bug and or the enhancement. There's also a big requirement. Your fix has to have tests. We're trying to get as much coverage as possible to the framework in order to reduce any random bugs that might come later on. So your pull request will have to have tests. You can enter as much or as little as you want, and offer help. It applies to all the Phalcon repos. So we will reward translations, we will reward documentation, we will reward the main repository and all that. And the reward is at the end of the April, those that help will get a t-shirt of your size as well as stickers. So this is our little competition, and we will have a separate blog post announcing this. I just wanted to let you guys know. And of course, the t-shirt and the stickers are just a way of saying thank you for everybody that helps or is willing to help. All right. So April Bugfest. Yay. And that's it. That's the Q&A now. Anybody that has any questions, just throw them at us, and I'm going to try as much as possible to answer them. And we're going into 40 minutes compared to the previous Hangout, which was nearly 2 hours. So, Rude, you can actually watch your qualifying or something that you wanted with Formula One. So yeah, Rude, PSR 7 was an Alpha 3 already. And I was really happy to do the to work on it with TDD, test-driven development, and make sure that we have a lot of coverage. As I mentioned earlier, the only thing that's missing is that load method in the server request factory, which I don't know. I have to find some time to I have to find the time to do it. And yeah, we need to update the release notes just in case. So to Max's questions, so I know we're super far away from PHP 8, but you saw they approved the just in time. How big do you think it will impact Zephyr? Just like anything that happens in the PHP world, and I'm thinking of the horror stories of PHP 7 that we had months and months that we were working on. It could take a while. Now, the good thing is that Sergey has been spending a lot of time researching and reading about all sorts of bits and pieces that have to do with Zephyr and related projects that affect Zephyr, in order to make it a lot easier for him to and others, of course. And we also have Dream Sexin. I call him Dream. That is also helping along with Dan and others uh, in Zephyr. So I'm pretty sure that it's not gonna Zephyr for PHP 8 is not going to be an immediate thing. So the minute PHP 8 gets released, it's not gonna be an immediate Phalcon 8 release, right? Um, it will take a little bit of time. But having said that, it is our goal to ensure that we don't have the debacle of PHP 7. And I'm calling it as it is, guys. I mean, we dropped the ball on PHP 7 quite a lot. A lot of our community wanted PHP 7, and we're not able to produce it. Finally, we managed to do it. It was a glorious occasion because there were a couple of bugs in Zephyr um, that really hindered us. But we're not going to do the same thing. We're going to keep a close eye on what PHP 8 is doing and see how we can adjust Zephyr in order to get everything. So Oleg is asking how to generate a key for the crypt component. What key? What key do you want to generate? Let me just load it up. So the crypt component, you define what your cipher is, and then you say whether you were going to be signing it or not. And that one is enabled by default for v4. And then all you do is you just call encrypt and decrypt. The key that you use is yours. So you can go to any random text generator and you can create a really big key and just throw that in there, or just do something similar. Just put password 1 or something like that. I don't know. Did that answer your question, Oleg, or if you can explain a little bit more? Can I use the random? Yeah, absolutely. You can use the random component. I have a service for my passwords called Bitwarden, and it's like LastPass or OnePass, or all those little extensions that come into your browser. And what that comes up with is a random password generator. So if I want something quick, not necessarily only for a password for a website, I just click on that and just put it to 64 characters and give me just scrambled text, and that's what I use for any application that might need that. One other thing that I just want to mention here, in a previous job that I mentioned this in a previous live stream. In a previous company that I was, the previous application that we were working on, we had to encrypt and decrypt data that was stored in Elasticsearch. Sadly, there was no encryption and decryption by default. So what we did is we stored the data in Elasticsearch encrypted, and then when we got it back, we decrypted it. And of course, this was data that was not involved in the search itself, because you cannot search encrypted data, right? So what we did is we thought about it and we said, all right, well, if somebody compromises the server, they will know the key, right? So what we did is we created a new project in Zephyr, and that project had 2 static methods, encrypt and decrypt. And it had hard-coded our encryption and decryption key inside it. We compiled the particular project, and we loaded that up before Phalcon on our web server as a module. So if somebody went in, they wouldn't know what the key was, So that's one of the things that we did. You know, it's kind of like a little extra security somewhere there. But the key back then when we generated it was one from these random generators. And I will also repeat myself. I will also repeat myself that if you really want to create a random script and random series of characters to use as a password, take a Windows user, sign them up to Vim, you know, set up Vim there, and ask them to quit it. And that's how you get the random generator, random passwords. So to answer Max's question, the Docker image on the page, the official, no, those Docker images are going to be removed. There's no official Docker support. I've been talking to who was it? Jeckerson, I think. Was it? I don't remember, guys. It's way too many people that I talked to. Yeah, Jeckerson, the one that tricked me. So I've been talking to him, and we've been working together to set up a GitLab instance. And no, we're not moving to. There you go. That's the one, Anton. And no, we're not moving the repository to GitLab. But what we're doing is the idea is that we created a group in GitLab called Phalcon. Phalcon something, because Phalcon was taken again. And what we're going to do is we're going to use GitLab to build Docker images, which would then be posted to, I believe, the hub.docker.com, something like that. So there's a lot of there's a lot of background work here. We're not ready yet. And yeah, Rude, I was gonna get you guys talking to see what is the best solution and where we should put all those Docker images so that we can have a better support. Yeah, I do understand that Nanobox is awesome and I love it and all that stuff, but not everybody's name is Nikos, so not everybody's gonna love Nanobox. Some people might just want Docker, right? Which I totally agree. The more options we can give to people, the better it would be. So yeah, that's what we're working on as well as a sideline. Actually, that might not be a bad idea, Ruud and Anton, to maybe create a blog post so that we can inform the community of, you know, what our next steps are and what we're doing with regards to Docker and so on and so forth. One other thing, since speaking about blog posts, we had a few months back a submission by Ruud on where Phalcon has helped. And people actually read about a carpentry factory using Phalcon to help them get more information about the tasks of the day. And that was an awesome blog post. Thank you so much, Ruud. Thank you for your client for allowing us to showcase that. I know that a couple of other people are working on supplying us with some success stories. So I'm just going to throw it out here. Whoever needs to say and can, of course, about a project that Phalcon helped them, by all means, we're going to post it on our blog. We're more than happy to. Just to give people ideas on how people use Phalcon and what success stories we have. So, anything else that anybody is interested in? One last thing that I saw, Max, because he's the one that's bugging me all the time. We also submitted a talk for PHP Barcelona in September, I believe. I don't know if they will ask us to go and present, but if they do, I'll definitely let the community know, at least for those that are in Europe and have a much shorter trip to potentially meet up. we did discuss some time ago for a potential meetup of Phalcon people or Falconistas or Falconeers or whatever the name is, Phalcon fanatics. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know when, honestly. If I get a positive from that Phalcon Barcelona one, definitely that would be the place. But if we don't get one, we could do it pretty much any time. The only thing that I need personally is a little bit of time. Yeah, well, what did I expect from you, rude Phalcon beer drinkers? Excellent. So what I was thinking of is if we don't get accepted to speak to PHP Barcelona, we can have a meeting at some point that we will decide that at least most people could come together. Usually, meetings like that are good to happen in some sort of a PHP conference or something. But I don't know. I'm open to suggestions. Let's start the dialogue. Like I said, personally, I'll need at least a week to get prepared, and a month to get the authorization to go. Anton, Web Summit in Lisbon. I don't know about that. Send me the link, and I'll submit the talk. Oleg, do you plan on implementing multiple CSRF? I didn't have any plans on this, but that might be a good NFR. So let's put the issue in there if it's not already there, and let's see where we can what we can do to implement it. There's so many things in my head on how I want Phalcon to progress. You know, revisit some of the components and make them a lot better. Use service locators to not overload the system. Do as much lazy loading as possible. Stuff like that. And I know that it's not going to happen overnight because honestly, I don't have the time to sit down. You know, I do have to work, and I know Sergey does the same, and like everybody else. Had I had Phalcon my only concern, let's say I won the lottery, I don't have to work anymore. Had I had that, I would have been able to tell you, well, it's going to be ready next amount of months. But I really don't know. My idea for the forums, because we have a lot of problems with validation. Sometimes we have a lot of false positives, and sometimes the validation components don't work the way we want it. There's a couple of bugs already there with how they handle null and the validator. I think that the highest bug in there is with regards to the validation and the way the validator changed. So the idea, and this is where the collection component comes in, because you can use the collection component to start storing messages in it, and you can also use it to start storing validators in it. So you know, you see that there's method to our madness the way we do things. Kalispera Diplopito. So these are the things that I want to progress, and I know that I cannot be adding more things to V4. I have to restrain myself, and I know Sergey does the same. And we release V4, and then 4.1 we have another big thing that we're introducing, and then 4.2, 4.3, 4.4 until we get to V5 and so on and so forth. So honestly, add the issue there. I don't know if we're gonna be able to do anything with 4, most likely 4.1. I know that's not what you like to hear, but we just don't have enough time and manpower to do everything. So anything else? And thank you, Anton, for the link. I'll definitely check it out and see what we can do, how we can submit a talk. Hopefully we can talk there. So all right. So I don't see anything in the chat. Ask questions. Anything else you guys want before we call it a day and let Rude watch his Formula One? For the next time, if you have any questions this month, please let me know. Yep, absolutely. Oh, and one last thing to note. I keep on repeating this, but I just want to make sure that as many people know this as possible. The V4 documentation, as well as our blog post, our blog. No, I don't want to know the results. Thank you so much. So for the V4 documentation, as well as for our documentation, as well as the blog posts, we have a plugin at the bottom from Commento, and you can add comments. And those comments actually do accept Markdown, so you can add code there and all that stuff that pretty much relates to the documentation mostly. But also for the blog, if you have any comments or anything like that, you can just post it underneath each blog post. I saw one of our followers was just asking about the link for the Hangout, and I actually found out something is that you can create your Hangout, you can schedule it, and that will give you a unique link, and then you can post it in there. So I didn't know that I could do that. I thought that I have to start the Hangout right there, and then that's why it's going on. So for the next Hangout, you're going to have the link beforehand, and you're going to be able to do that. So plans for next month, Anton, is I mentioned, I don't know if you were around, we have the April Bugfest, so everybody can come over and fix any bugs, introduce stuff in the documentation, help us with the documentation, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the month, we're gonna look at the winners, and we're gonna send a T-shirt and some stickers to everybody that contributed. So that's one. The second one is we're working mostly on PSR 16, which is the biggest thing that we have to do that. Most likely next week, we're gonna beginning of next week, Sergey and I are gonna talk and see whether we're gonna release one more alpha before a beta. Beta will come as soon as most of the bugs are done. If we finish all the bugs in V4 and we finish PSR 16, then we can definitely release a beta. And then just introduce the very few enhancements that might be lingering there. But that's pretty much it. So I'm thinking potentially, and don't take my word for it, potentially we could release, let's say, beta by the end of April, maybe beginning of May. We'll just have to wait and see. Trust me, we're as excited to release a beta as much as you guys are, but we're not going to release something that is substandard, right? And what about the spam bots on the forum? That I cannot answer. We are going to have a lot of spam bots, and there have been times that they have been crazy to post on our forum. Since we use the GitHub authentication, it makes it a little bit more difficult for them to get in. But there are times that GitHub drops the ball and they manage to exploit something and they start registering accounts and all that stuff. So I don't know what to say. If you see anything, because I don't look at the forum that much, to be quite frank with you, if you see something, just ping me on Discord. We'll sort it out at that point. Okay. Add spam link for reports. Yeah, in the forum to just report something as spam. Yeah, we could do that. Definitely, we have the Phalcon forum has been one of the best applications that we've done, and kudos to Andres and Sergey for the most part. These two have been the ones that introduced a lot of code into this. But it's one of the applications that we haven't given any love for the last year, I would say. So one of the things that we wanted to do, and you guys have seen this before, the Phalcon, the forum gets a 500 error when in some random cases, and that is because Beanstalk D that sits in the back end sometimes crashes on its own, and it doesn't tell us why. So we have to manually go and restart it. So what we've done is we already spun up an instance in DigitalOcean. So the goal is to move the Phalcon forum there to have a much more reliable hosting, and that's a to do. And then after that, we're definitely gonna spend time to introduce all these goodies and give the Phalcon forum much love. I know that we discussed with O2, the guys that are helping us with our skins and stuff and UI and UX, the need for a better skin or a better CSS for the forum, and they're gonna do it at some point. So I don't know exactly when that would happen, but it will. Now, if anybody has time and can introduce the spam link to report, by all means, do it, guys. But right now, I'd rather not have the spam link and continue with V4 and get it to a stage where we can release it rather than spend time into other projects. Not that those other projects are less important, but I feel that we're going to get a lot more value by releasing V4 rather than getting a few spam bots out. So yes, the Phalcon forum is in the forum repository in GitHub under the Phalcon organization. So anybody can see the code, and anybody can actually make some alterations or suggestions or something like that. So we're very much into the open source. And yes, Radoslaw, I'm waiting for V4 stable too. But I have to do quite a few things in there. So before we do it, what was I gonna say? I forgot. It's okay. Okay. Let's see. We don't have any more questions. I'd like to thank everybody that joined in and talked to us live. I'd like to thank everybody that's watching this after it's been published. And hope to see everybody on our Discord server. All right. Thank you all, guys. Bye.